Welcome to a tutorial on the Holy Roman Empire. I've picked Austria because he starts the game as the Holy Roman Empire. If you can see the Holy Roman Empire, you get this little button right here. It says Holy Roman Empire. Shows the Imperial Authority below it. If you click it, you get this thing. Imperial Authority, Imperial Reforms. Imperial Reforms are basically things the Emperor can apply if they have 50 or more Imperial Authority. They gain authority by this number. There used to be other things that could get you authority, but they have reduced those and adjusted those. Being the emperor gives you this benefit. The emperor can do these diplomatic things: bestow imperial grace, enforce religious unity, grant electorate, grant free city status, demand unlawful territory. And this is the current emperor. Whoever is emperor, their flag is shown right here. Each of these things. This is the name of the emperor. These are the electors, and these are the princes. Basically, these are the people who have their capital inside the Holy Roman Empire. If you look at your map mode, political map mode, there's Imperial. Everything in green belongs to the Holy Roman Empire. The little the hash things, the ones in yellow belong to a country who is not part of the empire. The ones in orange are princes who belong to the empire who are vassals of another country. Like Brabant here is a vassal of Burgundy, which is not part of the HRE. Holstein is part of the empire, but is a vassal under Denmark. Holstein. And Venice owns this little part, which technically belongs to Milan. The ones in orange here, or salmon, are electors. So these guys are electors. So if we look back here, there are up to 7 electors. Each elector has a vote. Because the game has not progressed, there are these little numbers. These are who the electors are voting for. If the emperor dies, whoever has the most flags becomes the next emperor, in general. If there's a tie in flags, if it's the emperor, the previous emperor country will always win. Otherwise, it defaults to prestige, I believe. So, if you have tie and you have more prestige than the other country, you will become emperor. If you look at this, if you hover over there, it will tell you how they prefer you. And if you hover over the flag, not eligible to be emperor. Where it says not eligible to be emperor, if you have the eligibility to be emperor, it'll list, they give you a rating of this many points based on these reasons. The person with the higher points will get it. If you surpass someone during a month, it will change at the start of the next month. So their votes last 1 month in terms. Each of these reforms, if you're a prince, you can say there's a little check mark here which says I support this or I don't support this. If you hover over this as the emperor, you will see whether they have support for it or against it. You need more support for it than against it to pass a reform. So you have to have 50 imperial authority This caps at 100. And then you spend all of it to pass a reform. The imperial authority and opinion will affect whether they accept the reform. So currently there are 20 princes for the reform and 38 against it. It lists who's for it and who is against it. Based on this, imperial authority will be gained in certain different things. Basically, peace gives you stuff. If there's a bunch of members in the empire, you'll gain more. If provinces don't belong to the empire, you lose it. And if heretic princes exist within the empire doing stuff, they can do other things. There is a You can go to the religious wars for the Holy Roman Empire, which happens roughly about 1650, 1600. Oh, 1550, I think, when the Protestant and Reformation begin. The Protestant Reformation begins, yeah. Currently, all the countries are Catholic in the HRE. When the We'll talk about religion, but later. But when that happens, there can be a split between that. So, bestow imperial grace. Go to a country. Alright, so, emperor actions down here. Bestow imperial grace. Basically, one imperial authority to give them a bonus towards relations. Improve imperial relations. One imperial authority to give them 40 relations. That's what that means. And you see it took out from there. Enforce religious unity, which means declare war on a country if they have a different religion than the state religion of the Holy Roman Empire. Currently, our state religion is Catholicism. If that becomes a problem, then we can get the religious league wars. I do believe that, however, is applied towards is part of a DLC pack, but you will see conflict within the HRE. These little countries over here can get a if they're are part of the Italian countries. If Austria or another country doesn't conquer basically Venice, not Venice, Verona, Treviso, Friuli, Romagna, Urbino, Gallicia, Umbria, and Rome. All these countries need to be under the control of an HRE country, usually going to be Austria. By 1600, if Austria hasn't conquered this in this, you don't need to conquer Venice, you don't need to conquer Istria, you don't need to go to below that. Those three and those five will spawn something called the Shadow Empire, in which case these countries that are Italian, basically anything south of Switzerland, will drop out of the HRE. It has the option of dropping out of the HRE, and the AI will generally choose to drop out. I know I kind of went on a... If there are less than 7 electors, the Emperor can give another country within the HRE an electorate status, and they get placed here. Free city states. Free city states are basically... Are you free city? They're basically one province minors who are granted a little bonus. I don't remember who starts as a free city-state. There used to be a way of telling. I don't know. It's probably not that important, but there are 7 states in the HRE which are given free city-state status. I don't. Yeah, don't know how to tell it in the base game, but if there's less, you can give another country one. Then we have, if they're less, they're up to 7 or 8, I believe. You can give demand unlawful territory is basically a peaceful action, though it will hurt your relations with that country. So we can go to Burgundy, demand unlawful territory from them, or another country. So to prevent the smaller countries from being gobbled up by bigger countries, the emperor will ask for that territory back based on relations they may or may not accept. If they don't plan to accept, they will have an X on it. They will generally only pop out one territory when asked. So if they conquer like 3 territories, they will only really pop out one. So make a good choice on that. That is pretty much the HRE in a nutshell. There's the emperor who's elected, who gets bonuses, who's expected to protect the whole of the HRE. So if another outside country declares war, he is forced to protect. He is obligated to. He's given a choice to defend. If he doesn't, he has hurt relations with most of the countries in the HRE, and he is generally called into war to defend that. The country that's declared upon gets their general defender notices. So if they're allied with another country, they will send that country hey, I need help, I'm being attacked. And then the emperor gets his call, and the emperor comes in, and the emperor gets the chance of calling his allies. So you can have a domino effect in that case. Taking provinces within the HRE will apply a higher aggressive expansion modifier towards any country within the HRE. So taking provinces in the HRE hurt your relations with other countries in the HRE at basically a double modifier. So saying taking a province off here would give you a 10 malus against Poland. If taking a province here would give you a 20 malus against Brandenburg and other countries around here. So that leads them to form a coalition against you very quickly if you try to take too much land. That's within and without the empire. So Pomerania takes too much of Brandenburg, he will get beat up. He will form a coalition against him will form very quickly by his neighbors, and they will attack and generally push back Pomerania. Generally. Yeah. Okay, there are currently 0 free states in the empire, free city states, which is why that's happening. Free cities will give the emperor more stuff. Since we're currently Bavaria right now, you can look and see that we have these little check marks, which means we approve or disapprove. As a member of the HRA, you generally only want the first 2. And I believe as the Emperor, you want to get all the way down to revoke the privilegia, which forces all the HRE to become your vassal. And any vassal that you have in the HRE falls into this category. and they don't occupy a diplomatic slot in that point. Any other thing with, so they don't, as a vassal, they don't occupy a diplomatic relations slot, but if you have a marriage with them, that will occupy a relationship slot. If you look here, you can see that little thing I was talking about earlier. If you want to dismantle the AHRE, if you look here, you have to control all the electors. You have to have to basically either control them or have them. So basically, you need to be able to defeat all the electors and the emperor and have their capitals under your occupation, or yeah, basically occupation, and then you can click dismantle the HRE, which will give you prestige. As a member of the HRE, you can press this button to leave the HRE. Very not recommended. That's that. Each of these things generally has a positive and a minus towards each of the members. I'm not sure if you have anything to start with. And that's the HRE in a nutshell. Alright, one quick note. I did find free cities. Didn't tell me about anything here. It's like no free cities in the Empire. Yeah. So there's a few. There's 7 to start, or 8 to start. Aachen, Bremen, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Memmingen, Nuremberg, Ravensburg, and Ulm. Alright. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So, free city status is basically, as long as they don't expand, they remain a one province minor, they will always have free city status. If they lose it, they will become an oligarchic republic. And in order to be eligible for free city status, they have to have be one province minor with at most 10 development. If it takes must be a member of the Holy Roman Empire, must not be a subject nation, and must not be an elector. And they have to be at peace, or do you have to be at peace? One of the two. Don't believe there's anything else.